All right. All right, so we're in business.
How's everybody doing out there, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. I hope everybody's doing quite well today.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is basically one of the series of videos that we do, kind of, I call it like a professor's break lounge or something, where you just bounce ideas and bounce topics and adding value as part of the adding value podcast as well. So what we want to do is just give you some tips, talk about them ourselves, real informal, but hopefully that is something informational as well. So one of the things, man, that was interesting to me actually in the news, let's see if I can share my
there's a lot of interesting things going on in the news right now. I mean, like this is one of the most some people could say newsworthy, some people say it's garbage, but I mean there's a lot of things happening on different platforms and on just different industries right now. It really is.
Here's something that caught my eye actually, and I hope if I can share the screen. There we go. You can see that.
Sure can.
So, and we can tie this in with kind of the stuff that we wanted to talk about and add value to all the viewers and the listeners out here right now. So today's news was something that, as everybody knows, Kanye West is a man of many talents, and he has always never been scared to branch into fashion, film, sneakers, you name it. That's without saying. But one of the things that caught my eye is something that he's working on, which is these dome structures. If you look at them, these are kind of these dome structures that he wants to build, and he's working on the prototypes in his backyard, as you can see. Now, as many people know, well, may not know or do know, that this is very similar to the South Africa or Southern Africa houses. Have you ever seen any of those?
Right, I've seen those just in passing, but like I don't know like the dynamics of like how they're built or their purpose or the history behind them. But yeah, I have seen them like just like in general. Just in general. No, I'm talking to someone.
These right here. Can you see these?
I can't see those.
These were in Swaziland, and these are very similar structures. Kind of, and these are really popular in Mozambique, Namibia, Zimbabwe, but I think it was mainly Lesotho and Swaziland where these pictures are and where you see a lot of them. Very interesting though, man. This is cool.
It is because like you got to see the different architectural structures, especially then with the motherland, but like different parts of different countries in the motherland, how they built their houses, like how style wise, how different it looks from our houses and like where we live. So yeah, man, it's interesting that Kanye would choose that particular style though. Like that's why I'm interested. Like why that particular style?
And first, I think a few weeks ago, the news was showing it as Star Wars theme. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, you remember the Star Wars? Luke's house that he grew up in.
Oh, on was it man? Small's gonna kill me for this, right?
Yeah, it was Chris. Chris was here. What is the name?
I want to say it's Tatooine. That's what I want to say. Please, I hope when he sees this, he's gonna be like, what?
There we go.
I believe in family. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Tatooine, right? So yeah, right there we go. Right, Tatooine. I see.
I'm not gonna try to say it. I'm gonna just spell it Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And this was more in the desert. So, I mean, that kind of dome shape was interesting. Everybody laughed when he kind of said it. And then he's actually showing the actual dome structures, which, hey, good luck to him. I guess this is kind of good to segue into structures of doing something. You know,
Yeah.
maybe what Kanye has been able to master is the ability to take an idea
Mhm.
and actually maybe uh, follow up on something that comes to mind. A lot of people who creatively can't really do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's, you know, that's not to say that everybody can do it. You know, people with many talents, such as DaVinci, uh, who, you know, was a poet or a sketch or artist or writer, and, you know, scientist and things like that. And you know, you can take your hat off and do different things. It's a very unique skill. And for him to, you know, go from, you know, designing shoes and
Mhm.
music, say,
Mhm.
take these examples like what we just saw basically right now. There's nothing to have stopped someone from doing something like that and
Right.
just going to a local architect firm and making them themselves.
Right.
How do you think that for the average person, day-to-day person, all of us out here who are not, you know, these celebrities or with high resources, but have ideas in our own lives, can try to do these things, you know, whether it's, you know, getting a better diet, maybe it's, you know, getting financial freedom, you know, you name it. What do you think some of those things it takes?
Yeah, yeah, I think it definitely takes like those ideas, like that shows you that there's no new idea under the sun. Many people have said that before.
Mm-hmm.
And what Kanye doing is taking the inspiration from Star Wars, in which they got the inspiration, I'm sure, from seeing some of those indigenous housing structures from Africa or maybe from other parts of the world, and they took that and put that in the form of the housing on Star Wars. So
Right.
that lets you know that ideas are plentiful, but you know execution and how it's presented and how it's marketed is what makes the difference. And with Ye, you know, a lot of people may have a lot of things to say about Ye, and I got some definitely gripes about him as well on a political man.
Hey,
But
that'll be a whole nother discussion. But
yo,
see, and what I wanted to do was try to take, you know, as we know,
yeah,
take from our own personal views, look at something and see it for what it is at that moment. And
definitely.
how do you kind of switch the topic? Because, yo, I'm with you on it, man. There's a lot of things in that
Yeah, man.
we
Yeah,
decide.
but on strictly on design and like how he tries to really um like hack hack thinking, if you want to call it that. Some people may describe it as that, but like just the way of design and looking at things and trying to make things better or give a different spin or perspective. I think he's definitely a trailblazer in that, man. Like I can't knock the brother for like his development as far as an artist, as far as a designer, whether it be clothes, shoes. I mean, his shoes single handedly, man, are helping to keep Adidas a premier shoe brand, man. Like that's unheard of, man. Like I mean, not an athlete, not an
Yeah.
athlete, but a performer, a stage perform musical artist that is pushing the brand forward. And again, it's not anything that hasn't been done before because you know we know Jay-Z did that. We know even I saw last night. I was actually looking up something. Me and my brother, I have an older brother, we're talking about if anybody y'all family remember LA Gear. I know
Yep.
I'm way back, man,
Yep.
but I mean, I don't know if you remember LA Gear, but like Michael Jackson was promoting LA Gear from the ad from what I saw. He was promoting like the brand LA Gear. So like it's nothing new, but to have a premier artist that's like still relevant and literally designing a performance shoe that's consistently selling out for better for worse is remarkable, man.
Yeah, and that's to say, like, even with this, we may never see these. You know, many people design prototypes for things,
Great point. Yeah.
and we may never see them. But the key fact is that he actually is doing it in his backyard. So, you know, he's taking the idea of something and saying, "I want to see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see how long does it take, or what is the." So, you know, I think that failure in yourself says a lot of a type of person who does that. So, you know, there's many painters, there's many inventors. More so is kind of what I'm thinking. People who are working on patents for different things. If you're or a business idea, maybe you're a person that has a business idea, a mobile app idea, and you're like, I would like to do it. Well, there's ways to go ahead and do it. You know, would you invest in the amount to do the prototype yourself to where you're using it rather than just keep telling everyone that you want to do something? Does that make kind of, you know, I hope that makes sense on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we had talked about that as far as development, you know, shameless plug, but like with the holla back emoji pack, you know, like something that you've were definitely the front runner and main person on the idea. And then I came on in the later stages, just consulting and just kind of bouncing ideas off of. But that's family. That's something that was a learning process, a learning curve for Alvin, and definitely a learning curve for me. But you know, we're still in it. We're still learning. We're still developing on some other things to add to that and create some other things, dealing with like tech and mobile apps and even like just the UX experiences period as far as technology. But like you have to be able to like put what they say, put skin in the game. Like you can't be on the sidelines talking about wishing and wanting. You have to start somewhere and know that it's not going to be perfect the first time out. Like it's just not, and that's something, remember Alvin, I had to deal with, like as far as like dealing with, okay, where do we start in? Or it has to look like this. It has to, and it's like, yeah, you want to have a vision and idea of the overall goal, but like while you're going through it, it's going to be, to quote my man Slide A, producer out of Chicago, you got to go through your ugly phase. Gotta go through the ugly phase.
Yeah, that's true, man. And then guess what? You know, when you do that, then you realize, okay, maybe I need to add this to it. Maybe I need to take away this, you know, and you'll get there if you're really dedicated to it. Again, we say this goes across all borders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe a cook out there that's working on your own, you know, kale salad. You may be making, you know, your own pizza or your own secret sauce, you know, barbecue jerk sauce. You think like it's all been done, but it's not. You know, there's tons of barbecue sauce and there's tons of hot sauce, you know, and different names. And if you want to get out there and do it, hopefully some of the tips that we're going to share with today can be helpful for people who's in that process that are watching this, you know. Make sure if you're follow us on Instagram or on Twitter. Mine is Bookido, Bookido. I'm going to put the information in the description so you can follow up on that. You can also check out our website, bookidoshop.com. That's BOOKIDO shop.com. We have some t-shirts on there that we're selling, and we're going to have some more products and ebooks and a lot of the things that we're starting to build throughout this next phase of the whole year. So make sure you drop your Instagram on there too, Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, definitely my Instagram, DIX_KYLE. Also got my Twitter, KEASY, which is KEASY773. My Facebook, just my name, Kyle Dixon. Also got my YouTube, Mr. Kyle Dixon. So I'm trying to keep it consistent, family. But these are the platforms that I'm on.
So if you catch someone, when you watch this and you got any comments or questions, pick one of those and he'll reply back to you for sure.
Definitely. I pride myself on that as an educator and as a brother in the community. I pride myself on getting back to folks as prompt as possible, very reachable, very approachable. So yeah, just reach out to me. Good,
man. So what's some of the tips, man? What do you have to share with me today? What can I learn?
Yeah, man. So I want to share something, you know, just as us building and the family and the community in general. And it's basically talking about, like, as far as when we talk about not just goals particular, but like going towards certain outcomes that you want, whether it be building the app or whether it be training for exercise or whether it be getting a grade in the classroom, or in reference of like money and finance. Like there's certain things that you have to be able to be okay with in order to kind of get to that next level or get to the next levels, multiple levels. Right. And those things that I was talking about with one of my colleagues, you know, we were talking about in reference, and specifically in reference of like finances. You know, when certain people are going through certain like debt or like or difficulties in finance, a lot of times we have a particular set skill. Let's say for instance we have a particular set skill, but let's say that's not paying enough or that we're not being compensated enough for that skill. Well, if you feel like you have to take on uh, another job or some sort or task in order to kind of make ends meet, you know how people say like make ends meet. You have to be able to like put your pride to the side and find out like what's something that I could do that will not only get me out of whatever financial situation I'm in, or even skill level I'm in, and help me get to that next level plateau.
Okay.
So like, there's 3 things I definitely want to share with the family. Just 3 steps or just 3 ideas. And one, the first one, like what I was talking to you before, is it honorable?
Okay.
Right?
So number 1 is it honorable?
Is it honorable? So when you're choosing a task to do, a skill where you're trying to again build and grow on your abilities and or your bank account, like, is it honorable? Like, meaning, does it align with your values and like moral center? You know, people say like, oh, you know, I would do this for like, you know, people ask you, would you do this for $1 million? And really what they're doing, they're asking you about your integrity. Like, how much, you know, does your integrity matter in this particular situation? You know, right. Some people say like for $1 million, I drink, you know,
gasoline.
Yeah, gasoline.
Go to the hospital afterwards for $1 million. Like,
exactly. I drink a cup of gasoline.
You may not come out of that, right?
Right. If you come out to get $1 million. So yeah, or like, you know, man, I jump off a plane like with just like one parachute or something for like, you know, 10 million. You know, just craziness, man. But it's but those questions are really just focus upon like your integrity. Like, what's your values? What's your morals? Like, what do you? It's not really what you're willing to do. It's really what you're not willing to do. Like somebody, like, even though, you know, like for the example we gave, gasoline. Oh, you know, would you drink a cup of gasoline for $1 million? No, I wouldn't. And people's like, oh, you know, yes, you would. I'm like, no, I wouldn't, because the gamble is, would I make it out alive? You know what I'm saying? It's like, is my life worth $1 million? No, it's worth way more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I value my not only my body, but my livelihood more than $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people ask like, what's your price? So to go back to the main thing, like, is it honorable? Like, does it match your moral values that you hold upon? Like, you know, there's some people that, let's be real. Some people talk about the adult entertainment industry, or like, you know, these shake joints, you know, or, you know, strip. And people are like, oh, you know, I can't believe she or he is doing that, and I would never do that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, a lot of us that were like that, but some of us like, well, you know, if I had to make ends meet, for me, not for me, but for that particular person, that aligns, that doesn't overstep their values. They're saying, well, like, my values are this particular standard. And that doesn't mean it's higher or lower. It just means that for them, for that particular person, that's their standard. And they're like, hey, I don't feel like I'm, you know, challenging my values and what I stand by. So they're willing to do that. Mm-hmm. So for you, you have to figure out, like, I'll give you straight one scenario. I hit a point in my life where I felt like I almost had to work at McDonald's. Like, I was working, I was paying bills, but it just wasn't enough. It was a lot going on at the time. We were starting our company. And this is in Chicago, and I almost got to the point where I felt like I had to work for McDonald's. And I actually got an application from McDonald's, ready to fill it out. Because I said, well, it is McDonald's, but is it honorable? Like, am I hurting anyone? No. You know what I'm saying? Well, not particularly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, do I get a paycheck from it? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Will I be able to take, which goes into my next point, skills. Will I be able to learn skills from it? Yes. You know, so it was like all these things. I was willing to do that. I have a degree. I have multiple years of working experience in my field, but I was willing to go there because for me, it wasn't about my pride. It was about, was it honorable? And it was honorable work. You know what I'm saying?
Now, and it reminds me of kind of, what's his name from the Cosby Show that got recently job shamed for he was back groceries.
Yeah, Alvin's character. I forget the
Yeah. His point was, man, look, don't job shame people for that. You know, it's honorable. But his point was that to him, the choice of doing it was fine with him. You know, and people, I guess, that was criticizing him wasn't looking at that perspective first. They was trying to look at titles and celebrity and where you're supposed to be and expectations. But really, when you're on this path of doing something, so I'm gonna let you get to the number 2 and 3. Being honorable is a top requirement. You know, are you doing something that's within your own integrity? Some people may want to make a dating app. You know, some people may want to make something that helps environmental and clean energy and recycling. Some people want to go big, you know, innovative. You know, are you okay with privacy? So, you know, some people may build something and say, no, we don't, privacy is not a big issue to us because we think that everybody's going to give away privacy. That can be controversial because maybe the trend is going towards, wait a minute, before I sign up, I want to read these privacy policies. And if it's not something that's, you know, within my life principles, I don't want to get into it. And you may find out like, wow, how come people aren't signing up to my app? You know, I thought it was okay. You're doing something just because that's what you think it is.
Right. Right. So yeah, so exactly, and that's a great point. Like even right with the brother, again I cannot remember his name, but again the brother who played Alvin on Cosby Show, it was more so about like, right, is this a mean to an ends, and is this something that is respectful? And it was, and I applauded the brother because a lot of people caught up on his ego and pride, man, and then when it comes to like jobs or paying bills, times get rough sometimes, and you have to really figure out like what you're made of and what you're willing to do. And some people are willing to do some dirt dog stuff, you know what I'm saying, to be able to get out of this situation. But there's other people who are not willing to do the dirt dog stuff, but they're willing to get their hands dirty as far as doing menial tasks or tasks that may be beneath their educational level. But there's really no job that's like that. There's a job, there's a task, and if you can do it, then there's really no prestige or anything around it. Like, you know, I'm an educator and I pride myself as being an educator, but I also pride myself as being able to like keep my house clean and to be able to like, if I needed to, which I hope I never do, but if I needed to like get my hands dirty, like do menial tasks, I'm not above that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what helped me to get to this point that I'm at now, like doing catering and slinging boxes at, you know, UPS, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not above that work. You know? And also to speak on that, we were talking about recently, Dapper Dan said the same thing. He said, I went from a table in Harlem to my store, and then my store got shut down. And I'm that same dude that's willing to go back to the table if I had to be able to like keep my empire or keep my business going. And
I think that's why he was able to stay with it much longer.
Yeah, I agree. Because he's been through the whole process. No matter what you may say about him with Gucci, he's been through the whole process because he was there, because he built it and established it himself. You know, like he went from A to Z, or is going from A to Z. Like he didn't start at C and then hop all the way to like Y. Like nah, like he went from A, B, C, D. And a lot of the folks that I admire, and if you read up on them, any of the people who are successful, they didn't really skip steps, man. Like they got lucky while they were doing certain things, but they didn't skip any steps. You know, they learned the whole game, the whole process. You know.
Okay. So what's number 2?
So number two is the skill set. Like I just mentioned before, the skill set, man. Am I acquiring a skill that allows me to grow as a person and or grow in the marketplace or the industry that I'm trying to get into, or that I'm in, you know? Like I've heard the term that they call them stackable skills, like skills that you're able to add on and stack up as you're working, as you're learning. Yeah. So yeah, family. So these are skills that as you're working your main job, let's say you have a main job, right? Let's say your main job is building apps, right? But let's say in building apps, you're having a hard time maybe making money firsthand. So you say, well, look, I want to be an assistant manager at a fast food restaurant, right? Okay. So you being a assistant manager at a fast food restaurant really allows you to acquire skills dealing with management and being able to delegate certain tasks. So now when you're building your app and you need help, you're able to use those skills from you being an assistant manager and delegating tasks and regulating what's supposed to be done and how it's supposed to be done. You're able to apply that to building your website or app or service online, and you're now you're able to use the skill that you learned outside of building apps to apply it to your mainstay of what you're truly focused on and want to see grow. And now you're growing as a person. Now you're growing as far as an entrepreneur, and you're able to use that going forward. Like those skills never leave you. They never leave you.
And to use that same example, I mean, use a different example on the same topic that's a little bit outside of business and entrepreneur. Let's say swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are afraid of water and just feel like, hey, I'm not a good swimmer.
I was. That was me.
One of the stories that I've heard was from Tim Ferriss, actually, of swimming. And he said, I grew up in Long Island, around the water or something, but I was terrified of swimming until he was like 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But now he swims like, I don't know, a couple of laps a day, every day now. He's so comfortable with the water that he does not even see himself being afraid anymore. And so those skills that you're saying, if you learn that skill, you can use it for some as survival if you needed to, or for fun. Like what's the joy of being able to go to the pool or the beach and that anxiety is off your back, and if you decide to jump in the water and come back out, you got that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these skills, you know, as we're saying it, can be dancing, can be, you know, learning how to play guitar, you know, learning another language. That's another good one. So if you pick up the skill and you go back to one, is it honorable? Of course, to be able to communicate with people, not just only in English. So you may say, look, when I pick up the skill, I want to speak Swahili, or I want to speak Portuguese, and I want to order a meal in Portuguese at a Portuguese restaurant. So, you know, that's honorable.
Yes.
Now the skill set, is it something that's going to, what would you say that's going to help you? Part number two is what? It's a skill that's
right. That's like stackable. That will allow you to grow, grow as a person, overall person.
So by learning Portuguese, when you travel, you can speak it. You know, you hear people on the subway, or you hear people or you can watch a Portuguese movie. Mm-hmm. So it makes you as a person grow when things happen when you hear it. So I love that one, man. That's a really good one.
Definitely, man. Because I think a lot of times with, especially with swimming, I had a lot of anxiety growing up with swimming because I'd almost drowned as a child. So up until my high school years, from maybe like age 6 to about age maybe 15, 16, I had anxiety about swimming, man. So it wasn't until I took a swimming class that I was able to apply those techniques of learning. Because my major fear, and this will be like another session we would talk about as far as like overcoming fear. But one of my major fears was drowning, because I almost drowned as a child. And the swimming teacher taught me pretty much how not to drown, that I had a choice in that matter. I never knew that I had a choice, or felt like I had a choice. So that allowed me to apply that to a lot of different things, man, in my life.
That's good.
And not just
now you can enjoy it. Now it makes you happy when you know that you know what you can do. Right. Confident about it.
It does. It does. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge
All right. So we got number 3. What's that? So
for number 3, is pretty much about like, once I know that it's honorable, once I know it's added skill, how does it add to my overall outcome and goal of what I'm trying to achieve, right? Yeah. So in doing all these things, recognizing, does it link with my value system? Is it skills that I can use for my personal life and or professional life? And then on top of that, you wonder, okay, out of all that said and done, does this add to my overall outcome of what I'm trying to achieve? What's the goal? Okay. So if the goal is to maybe say make the football team by my sophomore year, You know, what are you doing? What steps are you taking on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis in order to get to that outcome, right? Let's say you want to make the football team, or let's say you want to get that position at the job. Are you doing any work that's outside of your regular routine or your peers' regular routine that will give you the results that you want? Because if like most people say, if you want the same results, keep doing what everybody else is doing. If you want different results, you have to go outside of what everyone else is doing, do more, or it could be do less, actually. A lot of times people think like, oh, I got to do more. Sometimes it's not the yes. Sometimes it's the no. And that's one thing that we talk about in Capoeira. That's one of the songs. It seem, now. So it's like sometimes it's yes. And sometimes it's no. And sometimes either one of those serve your purpose.
Gotcha. I like that.
Yeah. So it's the ebb and flow. But you have to realize, like, okay, is this moving towards my overall outcome that I'm looking for? And if it's not, you need to not only just stop, but you need to stop and think of, okay, where should I move? Should I completely abandon this? Or should I just come at this in a different angle, a different manner, and then approach it as such from here on out?
100%. And I think we actually kind of said that a little bit in the beginning when we were talking about Kanye's dome and the housing structure, because the fact that he took the initiative to even do a prototype, build it, and do that, he may decide, look, this may not be the route that I want to take. It takes a little long. It may be too big. It may be too small. It may cost too much. It take this, and this. But one of the things that is good about the third rule is that it gives you the choice again. It gives you the power again to, all of these is about what is the power that you can have so that you're doing something for good. So if you're doing it as honorable, you say, look, man, I'm 100% feel comfortable about learning this or doing this or taking this attempt or taking this risk. I'm comfortable with it. I feel like if I did this, I will be happy with myself, right?
Right.
And the second part is, what am I growing from this, right? So if I achieve this, am I, creating a job for myself financially? Am I learning the skill set to be able to, jump in the water and not feel scared about it? And when I go with my friends to the beach and I'm not like, no, I'll see y'all when y'all come back. Or three, as the end part is, how much of this am I able to learn from it and decide, was it the outcome that I wanted to get? Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty good one to, really stick on. I like that.
Yeah. And speaking on like what you're saying as far as like decision making, I want to say it's either Tony Robbins or it was like Tony Robbins, or I think it may have been Les Brown. But I know one of those guys were talking about how sometimes you'll never really be 100% about your decisions. And that's one thing that we're not really taught. It's like, oh, I have to be like 100% on board. And a lot of times that's pretty rare, right? That's pretty rare that you're 100% on board for everything. And they say typically if you're at least between about 65, 75% sure, like if somebody asks you like, okay, would you do this, yes or no? And you're close to about 75% at least, they say typically that's enough to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's really all you need, because, you got to commit. Will Smith talked about this a lot. If you look at some of his videos, you got to commit, man. You got to commit because that way you'll know if it really works or if it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, at least you gave it your all and say, no, this really doesn't work. And then, as we talked about a minute ago, then you could say, okay, should I abandon this altogether? Or like Kanye, should I just kind of pivot? Can I do this for now? Or is this something for the long term? Or is this something that like...
He may just be testing architecture for his own self.
He might.
Just for his own, we was using the example of DaVinci. I've got a book here, actually. This was called Think Like DaVinci. Right? And what's good about this book, actually, and the dog chewed it up. Oh my gosh! I can't.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Crucial got to.
But this book actually is really good because it breaks down how, you know, DaVinci, everyday genius.
Yeah,
you know,
he did a lot of journaling.
He did a lot of journaling. He did a lot of experimentation. And some of the stuff he probably had no, he shouldn't have been doing, to be honest with you. Back then he was doing some malpractice, man. You can't just be going buying a corpse off the road, you know, and then, you know, yeah, he was taking bodies out of the cemetery or going and asking, like, if you die, you know, you can go ahead and give me your body, which was you know. But he was bad. You don't know if the person may have still been alive at the time. He cutting them up and drawing them. And
right.
What we have today is just great artwork.
Right.
Because he does have some great detailed medical pictures.
He definitely did.
Of that. But
see, even he stepped out, even though I wouldn't go that far personally. But he went that far to being so bold, be like, yo, if you die, you gonna give me that? Gonna give me your life? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother talk slick game that I ain't mastered that yet.
He was doing it to animals too, and plants and all of that. You know, it's hey, have fun with it, man. And that's what we want, you know, want you to get out of this. Make sure you get some added value to it. I really don't have too much to say, man. I learned a lot on this. I'm gonna think on these 3 things that you just dropped on me, and hopefully those who are watching it, those who are listening, you know, you too can get some value out of it too, man.
Definitely, yeah, I hope so, man. Yeah, because family, this is really about like sharing information and like really pushing past our limitations. You know, like we really have a lot of capabilities that we just really don't push on. And just because it's Kanye, you know, just because it's his idea or idea he's pushing doesn't mean you don't have that same idea, and it doesn't mean like something that you can't commit to and try it. Like you never know until you really truly try it. So these are just some things to think about, like if you're still unsure about like how to approach it, or if you're in it right now, like should I go further? Like you always want to be able to like self-assess in the process, so that way you don't get too far in and feel like you wasted time. But if you learn from anything in the process, it's not wasted time, it's time well spent. So just keep that.
There it is right there. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment on this video, share.
Yes.
Please share it with anybody. Hit us up. Let us know. At Instagram is Boquito. We're going to put the text right here on the bottom. And for you, Kyle?
Yes, sir. My Instagram is DIX_KYLE. You can hit me up on Twitter, KEZKEASY773.
Cool. The next episode we're going to talk about is give you a quick snippet on why technology or startup industry is the new hip hop. We're going to talk about that.
Yes,
we're going to have some examples of some people that's doing some really good things out there in that world. And what are some of the things that they're learning as well? So of course, you're going to get some value. How do you fundraise money? How do you, work on your presentation? So make sure you check in for that. Like, share, subscribe. Holla back.
Holla back. Yeah. Peace, family.